Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
That's just a taste of what you're in for tonight. The Washington Nationals are in town. The Marlins are back in town. The Nationals a small lead atop the East. Marlins try to get it together. Guess who's back from the DL, ladies and gentlemen? D. Gordon, second in the National League in hitting. You can't have Marlins Nationals without Ryan Zimmerman, and he's back from the DL today. And to round it out, how about little Jason Worth? Flowing beard and locks, all of that. He's off the DL as well. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton. You were never on the DL, were you?
Not in the major leagues. One time in the minor leagues.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're back as
Thank
well.
you.
Marlins and Nationals for the Fish. An opportunity to play spoiler now. With the Nationals coming in, they have a lot of star power, but not a big lead in the East.
You know, all of a sudden, the Nationals in this series with Zimmerman and Worth back in the lineup, they're starting to get a little of that star power back, but they had some key players, some role players that really kept it together.
Those two guys step into a lineup that has to face not only Jose Fernandez, but Jose Fernandez in this ballpark, which amazingly has been a record-setting run.
You know, it's absolutely incredible when you see the numbers of Jose at Marlins Park. The record 14-0, the ERA fantastic. Look at the number of innings pitched, batting. This is what he's done. But Jose Fernandez is tough anywhere, and I think he showed that his last time out. We're going to see Bryce Harper. We're going to see one of the greatest young matchups in the National League.
I think when his career is all said and done, Bryce Harper and his fans and historians will look back at this year and say this was the year he fulfilled all the promise.
Look at his National League rankings. Harper third in batting average. The home runs, he's tied with Frazier and Giancarlo. He's scoring runs. How about the on-base percentage of 460? He had an incredible month of May. He had 13 home runs in the month. Bryce Harper is one of the best, if not the best thing going in the National League right now. Certainly will be talked about in the MVP race. And by the way, he is 0 for 4 in his career against Jose Fernandez.
Yeah, last time the Marlins saw him, he was hitting 3 homers against Tom Kohler up in D.C. Jose gets the ball. We'll hear for the right-hander, the Fish, and the Nationals right around the bend on an email and Twitter Tuesday. Baseball tonight in Miami. three-gamer against the Nationals. Jose Fernandez coming out. We go out to center field. Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini.
All right, Rich, thank you, and good evening again, everybody. Jose Fernandez will look to add to his Major League record, which he broke back in his last start, July 9th against the Reds, going for his 22nd consecutive start a career undefeated at home.
Yeah, now 14-0 on his career with a 1.17 ERA, minuscule numbers. We're watching history being made here in Marlins Park, and his best division of any division in baseball as far as against National League East, 6-2 with a 1.55 ERA.
That's important because that's who you're going to pitch against the most. Jose Fernandez looking forward to tonight's start and continuing to get better in this 2015 season.
Healthy, happy to be here. Happy to give this team a chance to win in 5 days, and pretty much all I can do. But thanks God I feel healthy, and working hard and trying to stay healthy. I don't think I'll never be where I expected to be in my career. It's always improvement somewhere, somehow. I don't like to settle, no matter how good it is. I like to find new goals and reach out to new things that my new goals. But I'm considering that I had surgery and I've been away from the game. I'm happy where I am right now. That I can get better, yes, of course.
A ridiculous 32 strikeouts and 3 walks so far for Jose. Is there anything other than anything else that has surprised you about how he's been so far in 4 starts?
I think, to me, it's the percentage of strikes. We've seen pretty much every time he goes out there, he's like 75% strikes in the strike zone after taking that long off with that kind of power, and that's been impressive to me.
And they're not hitting him all over the yard, even though he's throwing strikes, but quality strikes.
Quality strikes at 98.
All right, great matchup here. Jordan Zimmermann, he's just about as good as it gets as well. The 29-year-old righty takes on the 22-year-old righty, and will turn 23 on Friday. Fernandez next, Fox Sports Florida.
Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit us at FloridaCoastEQ.com. And by Auto Nation, visit us online, AutoNation.com. Marlins Park in Miami. Nationals and Marlins. Terrific pitching matchup. Jose Fernandez, Jordan Zimmermann. Nationals lineup reinforced by 2 off the DL. It's brought to you by J.M. Lexon. Anthony Rendon's at second base. Yunel Escobar's at third. Escobar has hurt the fish this year. Jason Worth off the DL. Bryce Harper's hitting cleanup. Ryan Zimmerman off the DL. Ian Desmond's hot right now. Wilson Ramos will do the catching. Local kid Michael Taylor's played quite well for the Nationals. He's in center hitting 8th. And Jordan Zimmerman is in the 9 spot. Jose Fernandez, first pitch is a fastball that runs high to Anthony Rendon. Jeff Kellogg calling balls and strikes. Pinch a penny brought you that very first pitch. Fernandez 3-0, start number 5. And that pitch misses away. And he's 2-0 on a guy that is also back off the DL, though not today. See his career numbers at the bottom. 3 starts and an 0.45 ERA against the Nationals.
That's one of the impressive things. There have been many that we've seen from Jose Fernandez since his return. He still has that aggressive nature on the mound. Lots of strikes with all of his pitches.
Yelich settles under it, makes the catch. Fernandez has an out. He'll lean on a defense that's brought to you by BMW.
And we'll check out that defense for the second time. Derek Dietrich gets a start in left field. Yelich and Ichiro filling out the outfield. Welcome back D. Gordon off the disabled list. He's at second base. Echeverria's double play partner. Prado and Casey McKee at the corners. JT Real Muto's been swinging a hot bat. He's behind the plate.
Yunel Escobar. Speaking of hot bats, Escobar has had quite the season. I don't think a lot of people realize the numbers that he's put up. 322 average, 368 on base, 425 slug. And it comes in the midst of all of the injuries all over the place for the Nationals. He's been kind of their solid guy.
He's been really solid against the Marlins. 10 for 21 against the Marlins. And he had a 5-hit game against the Fish.
Escobar, the 2-hopper. Echeverria across the diamond in time to get him. So 2 outs here in the first. And that'll bring up Jason Worth.
Consistent for Adeiny Echeverria.
So here is Worth now, who's played in just 27 games for these Nationals, who actually have dropped 6 of 9 and have dropped 2, 7 over, 52 and 45. Nationals a 2-game lead over the Mets at start of play tonight. And Fernandez whistles in a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, you have names such as Clint Robinson, Michael Taylor, Danny Espinosa. Those guys really did a terrific job for Matt Williams keeping it together with guys like Worth and Zimmerman on the disabled list.
Nationals division winners last year, ousted in the postseason by the world champion San Francisco Giants. You see the standings. The Braves are 7 back, and the Mets are hanging in there, 51 and 48. Worth flips one behind the bag at first, down the line, and it falls just foul.
The Mets obviously still in search of some hitting. They picked up the veterans Uribe and Kelly Johnson, but the Mets helped their bullpen, making a deal with Oakland and acquired Tyler Clippard. So we're not done with Tyler Clippard, Rich.
No, and not done with Jonathan Papelbon. FoxSports.com is reporting that the Nationals have acquired Papelbon from the Phillies. So that adds a little more oomph to the back of the bullpen. Swing and a miss and a sharp slider. Jose goes 1-2-3 through the Nationals in the first. Jordan Zimmerman's ball next. The Fish coming off a struggle on the road where they dropped 7 of 10 ball games. They try to bounce back tonight with this lineup, brought to you by JM Lexus. D. Gordon is back, second in the National League in hitting. Martin Prado hits second. Christian Yelich in the 3 spot. Casey McGee hitting cleanup. Derek Dietrich in left, and he's in the 5 spot. JT Realmuto, an 8-game hit streak, will do the catching. Ichiro is in right. Danny Echeverria at short, and Jose Fernandez hits 9th. And that is 29-year-old Jordan Zimmermann.
Well, he's had a couple of starts this year against the Marlins, 2 no decisions, but in each game he gave up just 2 runs. So always a tough opponent. It's Zimmermann, and welcome back, D. Gordon.
Boy, 1 pitch, 1 swing, base hit. And that's kind of the way it's gone the entire year for D. Gordon. A couple weeks on the disabled list, and he doesn't miss a beat.
He was able to play 1 game in single A for Jupiter. Jumps on that first pitch. Boy, just a solid, beautiful swing. 123 hits. He still leads the National League in that category.
And he certainly has a chance to win a batting title. You see the hit leaders. He's behind Goldschmidt, who started the night at 346. Now Prado against Zimmermann. Gordon right now at 340 after that base hit.
Well, it's just so nice to have him back because the Marlins struggled immensely on the road. 10 games, they scored 28 runs, less than 3 a game.
Prado takes a strike. 1-1. The Marlins have lost 3 in a row, and in those 3 losses, they've scored just 4 runs. Gordon back with a dive. Zimmermann, a terrific athlete, an outstanding wide receiver at Auburndale High School, Auburndale, Wisconsin. Went on to pitch at Wisconsin Stevens Point.
Yeah, you can see the athletic ability taking over in his quick move to first base.
Gordon has a bigger lead. Zimmermann, he bluffs. Zimmermann steps off.
Zimmermann in his career 7-3 against the Marlins. Certainly everyone remembers the no-hitter he threw at Nationals Park, but he's pitched well here. 7 starts here. He's 4-1, an ERA in the 2s.
You could hear Prado asking for time, and he didn't get it from Jeff Kellogg. And you could hear Prado asking for it before Zimmermann started from the stretch. Listen.
Prado did the right thing. He didn't step out. He stayed there, but just didn't react on that strike call.
Gordon is running. Zimmermann, and he gets him at second base. D. Gordon bolted for second. Zimmermann hadn't started to the plate, and it was an easy throw to get him. That'll go as a caught stealing.
You know, it looks easy, but Zimmermann made it look easy. He didn't panic. He heard everybody yell. He stepped off, took his time, and made a perfect throw to Rendon, the second baseman.
Fastball up and in. Prado bails out. It's 2-2. So a base hit, a caught stealing. Prado and Yelich due up here in the first after Gordon. That one in the dirt. Counts full. Rhett Butler, who has been a valuable resource to D. Gordon for a lot of reasons. And Prado sends a spinner up the middle into center field. That ball off the end of the bat had just some crazy spin. It's a hit.
That's
2
one
hits for the Fish.
One of those balls that has a knuckling effect. It heads toward the umpire, and Look where it lands. It lands about 10 feet the other side to the left of the second base umpire.
Now Yelich.
So one thing about Zimmerman, you have to have an aggressive approach because he throws a lot of strikes. And so far the Marlins have done that.
Yeah, Zimmerman doesn't walk many. His last loss was June 17th. Since then, he's made 6 starts. The Nationals have won all of those games. He's 3-0 with a 2.33 ERA, and he's walked just two in those 6 starts. Walks per 9 innings. Marlins are going to see Scherzer, Zimmerman on that list. Jacob deGrom and the Mets will be through here. Yelich, a little tapper. Zimmerman flips to Zimmerman. Not often you can say that. BMW brings you Washington's defense.
Yeah, there it is. Jason Worth, the left fielder. Michael Taylor covers a lot of ground in center. Bryce Harper, the right fielder. Escobar, Desmond, Rendon, and Zimmerman around the infield. And Wilson Ramos behind the plate. Quietly, Ramos just continues to have solid, good years.
Now McGee. In the absence of Giancarlo Stanton, and Stanton was here today, was throwing in left field, trying to work his way off the disabled list. In the absence of Stanton, in the absence of Marcell Ozuna, who homered and doubled last night in AAA, still in New Orleans. The Marlins have McGee in the cleanup spot, looking for some pop, looking for some power.
Right now, Rich, Ozuna in 17 games, 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, hitting .344 as an OPS over 1,000.
Not many teams have their top RBI guy in the 8th spot of their lineup. But that's the reality tonight for the Fish. McGee shoots it over Anthony Rendon's way, gets the out at first, and Zimmerman is through the first. Bryce Harper coming up. The Harper.
Is all about the hashtag Fish Family. We want to know about your favorite interactions with Marlins players on social media. Send those emails to foxmarlins@gmail.com. Send your tweets to @FoxMarlins, where we will be keeping the conversation going all throughout the course of the broadcast. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Jose's on the mound. D. Gordon return. Guys, it's going to be a good night here at Marlins Park.
It is. It's terrific individual matchups, and here's one of them. Bryce Harper leading it off for the Nationals. Jose Fernandez went 1-2-3 in the first. And a fastball at 96.
Yeah, the reason this is an intriguing matchup, first of all, Harper's 0 for 4 in his career against Jose, but you got a couple of 22-year-olds. Jose will soon be 23, but guys who will have many, many matchups over the years to come.
Fernandez with a changeup for a strike, and it's 2-1. That was. Pitch number 2 was called the ball. Pitch number 3 a strike. That one fouled back. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Zimmerman, Ian Desmond to follow for the Nationals, who now that they have all their horses back, feel like they should be able to distance themselves from the Mets. But the Mets just won't go away in the East. Harper has been kind of the lone man as far as the stars. Worth is back. Zimmerman is back. Rendon is back. That foul back to the screen. Well, the Nationals made a big trade tonight, reportedly getting Jonathan Papelbon. The Mets have made a couple trades, none of them big ones.
Well, the Mets are hoping to get Lucas Duda hot again, and he just homered for them tonight.
Fastball fouled out of play. Count stays 2-2 to Bryce Harper. FoxSports.com reported it first. Jonathan Papelbon, a minor league pitcher, 17 out of 17. He's been an outstanding closer in his career, whether with Boston or with the Phillies, now with the Nationals, and it begs the question. Fernandez thought he had a strike.
Begs the question, where was that pitch?
It was in. Pitch number 7.
Just missed.
Begs the question, who's going to close for these Nationals? 3-2 to Bryce Harper.
I think you get to the point of a season. I actually heard Mike Matheny of the Cardinals talking about this today, where you're not going to wear one guy out. So Matt Williams right now has the luxury of 2 guys who can close, Papelbon or Storen.
Breaking ball misses outside, and Jose walks Harper.
Drew Storen right now with 29 saves.
Storen and Matt Thornton have been outstanding in Washington's bullpen, but the 6th, 7th inning has been an issue. So obviously you add Papelbon to the mix, and it lengthens the back of the pen.
Now maybe you can stretch a Thornton into one of those other innings.
And that's when the Nationals over the last few years were at their best, when Tyler Clippard was going well, when Storen was going well, when Soriano was going well. They had 3 guys that locked down those last 3 innings. Jose throws a strike to Ryan Zimmerman, who's back. Zimmerman out with the plantar fasciitis.
Played just 5 games on a rehab assignment in Double-A, with just 1 for 15 in those games.
Check swing and no swing. Ben May is the first base umpire. Alan Porter, Mark Rippinger joining home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg. See Harper at first. Certainly Harper's not running as much as he did, I want to say, earlier in his career, and that's odd to say for a 22-year-old. This is his 4th year with the Nationals. Now remember, last year he was out 2 months on the DL after spraining a thumb on a head-first slide. Maybe that has something to do with it.
That has a lot to do with it.
Him not running.
That has a whole lot to do with it. You know, they want to keep him on the field.
He's at first, 1-2. to the Nationals' former third baseman, now first baseman. And Zimmerman just pokes that foul.
Even at that, Rich, the most steals that Harper's ever had in a season was 18. But you're totally right. They just want to keep him on the field. Don't want any head-first slides to injure him and keep him out.
Breaking ball clobbered down the left field line. That's a long run. And remember, Dietrich's in left. Harper headed for third. Dietrich has it cleanly off the wall. But it's a double by Ryan Zimmerman. Bryce Harper stops at third, and the Nationals are set up with one of their hotter bats, Ian Desmond, coming up.
Boy, a guy who over his career has just torched the Marlins with big base hits, a hanger. We've seen too many of those from Jose since his return, but he hangs that breaking ball, and Ryan Zimmerman with a big double.
Well played by Dietrich. This is not an easy left field for Derek Dietrich, because there's a lot of room to his left and a lot of room to his right. Now Desmond takes a breaking ball up.
A couple of those in a row we just haven't seen a lot of. That breaking ball overthrown a little bit by Jose. That was up. This is a guy he's really handled too over the last couple of years.
Yeah, to the tune of 0 for 9 with 7 strikeouts. Remember his last start in Arizona, he did strike out 11, but there was a time in the game where he didn't want to throw fastballs. It was after he hit a man, and it was David Peralta. And from that point on, he threw breaking balls and he threw changeups, and he threw a lot of righty to righty changeups. See if we see that tonight.
The way he's handled Desmond, I doubt he does that with Desmond. And by the way, Jose, one of the first to check in on David Peralta to make sure he was all right.
Counts 1-2. Desmond is prone to strike out, but he's hit in 7 straight, showing signs of life in a year below his offensive standards.
Where he has struggled, 143 this year, just 12 for 84 with runners in scoring position.
He's got 2 of them out there with nobody out. Fernandez wants to talk with his catcher, JT Realmuto. Remember, you can send a tweet during tonight's game at Fox Marlins. Include the hashtags TuneInMarlins and hashtag sponsored. Be entered for a chance to win autographed team gear and more. Stay tuned for the Marlins Live postgame show to find out if you're tonight's lucky winner. And he got him. Better breaking ball, better result.
Just a great pitch, and it leads me to the first tweet tonight from Dave MC. Want to know why you seem to have stopped calling Jose's signature pitch the defector? You had a great answer.
Well, he's a U.S. citizen, and the U.S. and Cuba have opened relations, and I guess the cold wall between the two countries is starting to thaw a bit. But we can pop that in if you really like it. That was a pretty good defector.
Yeah, it was.
To strike out Desmond. Now he sets his sights on Wilson Ramos. You got Michael Taylor behind Ramos.
This is a guy who's been driving in runs last 30 games, 17 RBIs for Ramos. He quietly gets big hits and does a nice job behind the plate.
%74%, and that's well above league average, which is 50%.
Boy, that's terrific. 14 out of 19. Infield back here, too, for Ramos.
Harper, the runner, at third. Ryan Zimmerman at second. Hernandez gets strike 2 on a breaking ball. It's 1-2.
Yeah, it's only Jose's 4th career start against the Nationals. 1-0 and an 0.45 ERA.
To right, not too deep. Ichiro comes in, makes the catch. Here comes Harper. Here comes the throw. It's cut by McGee, and the Nationals are on the board. Wilson Ramos adds to that stat, getting a guy in from third with less than 2 outs. He gets Harper home, drives in his 42nd run.
Ichiro did everything right. Went back on the ball, got a little momentum going forward. Throw was a little offline, but I don't think would have gotten Harper anyway.
Now Michael Taylor, Fort Lauderdale kid, Westminster Academy. Drives it to left, hits it pretty well. Dietrich back is there, and he makes the catch. Nationals strike first, a run in the second. It's 1-0. In Miami tonight, 1-0. Nationals on top. Scouting report on Jordan Zimmerman.
Well, we've seen it a few times over the year. The fastball has tail to a real easy delivery, short breaking late slider. We've talked about his athletic ability. We used to put up there has no hit stuff because we know he does. But he's given up 2 base hits tonight.
Derek Dietrich, JT Realmuto, and Ichiro emails and tweets tonight. We'll dip back into them as Dietrich climbs in. Dietrich, one of the hotter hitters for the Fish right now, had a nice road trip. Over his last 13 games, he's over 400. 414 average, couple homers, 3 doubles. Breaking ball and a little flare that ends up in the glove of Ian Desmond. An out here in the second. Tomorrow night, Marlins and Nationals continue the series at 7:10. And every child 12 and under with a ticket will receive a coupon with a free KM Beef Frank, bag of Frito-Lay chips, and a small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Kids Eat Free Wednesday. Go to Marlins.com for tickets. Now Real Muto sporting an 8-game hit streak. His average up to 259. And like Dietrich, he had a nice road trip. Hit 355. Couple homers, triple, 3 doubles.
I think you've just seen the progress in JT. Not only behind the plate defensively, but at the plate offensively. And boy, talking to different Marlins minor league people who have seen JT Real Muto come through the system, one thing they tell you is his makeup is off the charts.
Out number 2 handled by Ian Desmond. And here is Ichiro. Email from Richard. Seems about a month ago there was some buzz going around about a possible extension for Ichiro through next season. Haven't heard much since. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's amazing. Ichiro playing in his 95th game tonight. Of course, a lot of those as pinch hit appearances. Only Adeiny Hechavarria has been in more games, 97. So the answer is to that email is you look around baseball at 4th and 5th outfielders to see what they've done, what they've contributed, and I think you'd put Ichiro right there with most of them.
Ichiro sends this one out to center. Michael Taylor makes the catch. Jordan Zimmerman, a nice tidy second. 1-0 Nationals.
Time Jose Fernandez pitched here at Marlins Park was July 9th. He wound up getting out of there without yet another loss, and that set a major league record to start a career with 22 straight starts without a defeat at home. Where does it rank? Forgetting the fact that it's the beginning of his career, he's in good company here too. He's in the top 13, but interestingly enough, his opponent and the man at the plate right now is also on this list. Jordan Zimmerman had a nice run, 2012 to 13 with 22 straight starts without a loss at home. Kenny Rogers, the all-time mark with 4 teams, 38 games. Greinke is second. Lefty Grove is third. Now, many of the guys are all tied up at about 25, 24 actually. There's a base hit. Maybe no. Nicely done by Yelich at center. Randy Johnson is one of the guys who went 24 starts, guys. So if Jose was to go 3 more, he'd be 6th all-time with 25 starts without a defeat. We'll see. Good matchup tonight with 2 guys on a very impressive list.
Absolutely. And for Jose, He gets an out to open up this third inning. Here comes Anthony Rendon. For the Nationals, I mean, they are 52-45. They have run through a buzzsaw of great pitchers, including Jose Fernandez tonight. That one foul back. I mean, in the last 10 games, Kershaw, Greinke, Harvey, DeGrom, Syndergaard, Liriano, Locke, Burnett, Garrett Cole, and now Jose Fernandez. 9 of the 10 have been to the All-Star game.
So you want to be a big league hitter. That's what it's all about. In the minor leagues, you come up, you see that ace, see that really good pitcher. Low minor leagues, maybe once a week. You get the AA, AAA, maybe once every 3 or 4 days. You get up here and you see that top-notch pitcher almost every night.
JT Realmuto buying some time for home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg. Here's a look. That one right off the mask. Kellogg hung in there.
I like the way he had the presence of mind to take out the ball and just give JT a new one.
Rendon, and it's, look out, Yelich who makes the catch. Dietrich was behind him, and that's one of the travails of Derek Dietrich's second game in left field in the big leagues.
Well, he's a hard-nosed player, but you've got to realize he did get out of the way at the last minute. You've got to make sure he knows the center fielder's the captain out there. He's in charge. But you always love the aggressive nature of Derek Dietrich.
Yunel Escobar now. Escobar bounced to short in the first. If you're just joining us, the Nationals got a run in the second. Bryce Harper adding to that sky-high on-base percentage walks. A Ryan Zimmerman double and a Wilson Ramos sacrifice fly. Jose Fernandez was able to limit the damage to just 1 run.
You kind of keep track of stressful innings, and we talk about that. 24 pitches Jose needed to get through that second inning, so he had to work a little bit.
Breaking ball misses away to Escobar. Nationals apparently have acquired Jonathan Papelbon. Craig Kimbrell was a name. Aroldis Chapman was a name that was also bounced around for the Nationals. But it's Papelbon who will stay in the division and join the Nationals, you would expect, in the next couple of days. Breaking ball misses away. Jose Fernandez doesn't walk many people, just 3 walks in his first 4 starts, but he's walked 2 here tonight. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
Papelbon will have to come across the border. The Phillies in Toronto tonight. And Toronto happy about their new shortstop, Troy Tulowitzki.
Worth fouls it back to the screen. Troy Tulowitzki in Toronto. Jose Reyes in Colorado. If the Rockies were eager to shed the contract of Tulowitzki, Reyes is owed some money next year with a buyout the year following.
Maybe not as much as Tulowitzki's owed.
Oh, no. Not nearly.
Tulowitzki owed about $100 million. A little work for Jose tonight. Maybe not as sharp as command as we've seen. Remember, he came into the game, he'd walked just 3 in 26 innings. He's walked a pair tonight.
Tapper towards short. Echeverria charges and gets the out. Jose Fernandez through the third. Nationals on top 1-0. Jose Reyes. Former Marlin, longtime Met, a Blue Jay, and now no longer. Troy Tulowitzki, a lifelong Colorado Rocky, enormous offensive numbers, a history of injuries, but now in a pennant race. Liner to right, Echeverria. And it's caught there by Bryce Harper. The bottom of the third begins. One pitch and a line drive. Tommy Hunt, break down the trade, will you?
Well, it was one of the things I was reading about today. Tulowitzki will be playing on that hard turf up in Toronto. But certainly an offensive upgrade. It's been a little bit, there have been some questions of Jose's defense lately. But I think the interesting thing will be to see how Tulowitzki performs on the turf at Rogers Center.
It's a better turf than it was, say, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Now that field
slow. It's very slow.
Very slow. There's a bouncer off the bat of Fernandez. Rendon to first. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, Jordan Zimmerman's got a couple of outs.
2 pitches, 2 outs. So D. Gordon, who's coming up, is really forced to have to take a pitch, and you know he's going to see a fastball.
Of course, other trades that have happened. Ben Zobrist today going to the Royals from Oakland. A couple of minor league pitchers there. Told you about Jonathan Papelbon. The wrinkle in the Papelbon trade is he comes here where Drew Storen is doing a really nice job as a closer, but Papelbon wasn't going to go anywhere, he said, unless he was going to close. So you assume he's going to close. Fastball is a strike. Tyler Clippard going to the Mets makes a heck of a lot more sense now with the news that Henry Mejia has been suspended again for performance-enhancing drugs. 162 games without pay. Gordon and Zimmerman. 5-pitch inning and a nifty play to end it to get D. Gordon. Jordan Zimmerman, Jose Fernandez, and right now the Nationals are a run better. In Miami. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo, hashtag it FLDataStrongFan. You might see yourself in an upcoming telecast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Second matchup of the night between Jose Fernandez and Bryce Harper. Harper walked an astronomical on-base percentage. League-leading slugging percentage. He's having the type of year that the old school statistic folks and the new school statistic folks can all agree on.
Yeah, everything's kind of blended. Would you say leading candidate for the MVP award right now, especially with the position the Nationals are in?
Yes, especially with the injuries they've had. I mean, the loss of Worth, the loss of Rendon for a good amount of time, Zimmerman being out. Harper hasn't had a whole lot of protection around him coming out of the All-Star break. Matt Williams trying to get this ball club back into the postseason. Just his second year as the skipper.
There's that powered changeup. That's a great pitch on a 3-1 pitch. Harper, he's jacked up. He's ready for that 97, 98 mile an hour fastball. He got the changeup.
Full count, 3-2. 57 pitches. Fernandez has had to work hard in this one.
Yeah, he has.
He has just the 1-2-3 inning. That was the first. Got him outside corner. Harper doesn't like it. He dropped the bat. Turns to the dugout. And reluctantly leaves the box.
Well, the last 3 pitches he saw, a changeup at 90, a fastball at 97, and then that backdoor breaking ball.
That was out.
And it was a good eye by Harper. He was right. But that time Jose gets the call. Jeff Keller.
Yeah, that one bent around the plate. Fastball up and in. Starts the Ryan Zimmerman at bat.
A Harper of a couple of years ago may have reacted a little differently.
Not quite a grizzled veteran at 22, but you're right, he is learning. Zimmerman a big hit in the second. He cracked a double down the left field line. Ryan Zimmerman has seen it all as a national. First round pick in 2005, got to the big leagues at the end of that year. At the University of Virginia, that's the first year of the Nationals in D.C. Some lean years for sure, but then all of a sudden, the arrival of Mike Rizzo. Breaking ball misses down low. They acquired, remember Jason Worth? They signed that big contract. Strasburg, Harper, Storin. Those great drafts would follow. Rendon. Just like that, the Nationals became a contender. Zimmerman has been along for the ride every step of the way, and he takes up and in. A 1-out walk. Thursday, Marlins and Nationals. It's a special 12:10 start time. It's camp day. Bring your summer campers to the day. And a nice day game here at Marlins Park. It's presented by TD Bank. Also, seniors 55 and older get free tickets on Senior Free Ticket Thursdays. Presented by Wellmax Medical Centers.
So 3 walks for Jose coming into this game. His previous 4 starts, 3 tonight. The command not quite as we've seen it.
So you saw in that last snapshot of the Fox box, or Fox tracks, I should say, Jose has been getting that outside corner. John in Lauderhill wants to know, what's the possibility of having that Fox tracks up for every pitch like some other stations do?
Yeah, we get asked that a lot. I'm a fan of having it up occasionally, but not having it up all the time.
Whenever we do throw that out as an open forum, we do get some fans that say, hey, yeah, that might be cool. But we do, and quite honestly, get a lot more fans that say, just, sprinkle it in when necessary. swing and a miss. Ian Desmond strikes out.
That's amazing. Desmond now 0 for 11 with 9 strikeouts facing Jose Fernandez. We had a good tweet earlier with a question certainly about the lineup tonight, and the question, I believe, was Jesus wanted to know why not Prado in left field and Dietrich at third base. I think you want to get your best infield defense, and Prado a notch above Derek Dietrich defensively at third base.
Sticking to the lineup questions, Jim wanted to know why Justin Bour's not playing.
Yeah, I think you and I asked the same question. Bour 2 for 8 with a home run against Ryan Zimmerman. And for a ball club desperately seeking offense, it was a little bit of a surprise.
Ramos, that's trouble, and Yelich has to stretch up and get it. That would have been a run and 3 bases for Ramos. But Yelich, tall, lanky, and that's a good thing for Jose Fernandez. By your local Chevy dealers. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealers today. By 5-Hour Energy Shots. Have you tried great tasting 5-Hour Energy? By Checkers, mix and match our famous Big Buford, Big Chicken Deluxe. Get 2 for $5. Checkers, it's in the bag. And by Subaru Pembroke Pines, price, service, selection. You're gonna love us. In Miami tonight, matchup of Jordan Zimmerman and Jose Fernandez. And right now, it's Zimmerman that holds the upper hand in a lot of ways. On the scoreboard, for one, it's 1-0. Prado takes a fastball for a strike. And in terms of pitch count, Zimmerman has thrown just 29 pitches. 28 of them in the first 3 innings, and that one right there to Prado.
We were talking, Rich, about Justin Bour. In the no-hitter that Zimmerman pitched last September, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. And the 1 walk was to Justin Bour.
Prado has another hit. So Martin Prado, 2 hits, and that's 2 more than the Marlins had. Who can forget Steven Souza Jr. in left? Zimmerman was nails throughout. There's the line that Tommy just talked about. But this Yelich ball looked like a hit. Souza made the dive in his last game as a Washington National in the regular season. He saves a no-hitter. And here is Yelich.
Yeah, Yelich will never forget Steven Souza Jr.
He drives this one to left field. Worth is right there in his tracks. Can't hit it much harder than that. And Prado retreats to first.
All right, here's the deal. When you have a guy who's throwing a lot of strikes, as is Jordan Zimmerman, and with the Nationals having a 1-0 lead, you got to try a few things. And you have a guy coming up right now, Casey McGee, who's hit into a lot of double plays. A guy who can make contact. You have average speed at first, so you have to try something. You don't want the double play here. You want to put a little pressure on the Nationals.
McGee, with his time at San Francisco and his short stay here, leads the National League. He's bounced into 16 double plays. A ball and a strike.
Over the years, many times on a 1-1 count, managers, people in baseball felt that was a good time to put on a hit and run.
McGee, and it's foul over the head of Zimmerman. Count is 1-2. Wednesday brings more Marlins, more Nationals, and more Craig and Niner. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready for Game 2. Doug Fister, Tom Kohler. The battle of the faucets, right? Fister or Kohler?
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Craig and Jeff will have a segment on home improvement.
They'll open the show in their orange aprons. In this case, they'll be red-orange. Craig will have his tool belt on.
He fouls it at the plate. Two and two. I guess one of the mysteries of the Nationals, yeah, they were without Zimmerman and Wirth and Rendon. They still have a quality starter going out there. I know they've had some dings in their rotation as well.
Yeah, right now Strasburg on the disabled list.
But you look at what they've got lined up for this series: Zimmerman, Fister, Scherzer.
So the Marlins actually spoke to Gio Gonzalez. He's not pitching in this series. They're just relaxing with friends and family.
Oh, McGee back up the box. Down goes Zimmerman. That is going to be a double play, but a tough luck double play. I think it hit Zimmerman's glove, and that slowed it down for Rendon.
Boy, if not, that ball's up the middle for a base hit.
And thankfully, it didn't catch Zimmerman in any place but the glove. Let's look at it. Oh, he got the glove up in time. And that is how the fourth ends for the Fish. It's a 1-0 game. Nationals on top. The big difference, the pitch count. The very far right, 69 pitches for Jose. 39 for Zimmerman. It was Zimmerman who was down on his back when that inning ended. He was in the on-deck circle. Michael Taylor first. And Taylor smacks it into left field. He's been one of those guys, Tommy, you pointed them out, the unsung heroes of the Nationals that have just kept everything moving along despite the loss of all that firepower.
Yeah, he's done a nice job filling in. How about last inning? The reactions of Jordan Zimmerman to get the glove up, deflects it, so it goes 1-4-6-3. Just a bad luck double play. Casey McGee scalded that ball. It looked like it was going up the middle.
Zimmerman popped up the bunt. Jose Fernandez captured it. Started to throw to first, but D. Gordon was not quite there, and Jose did a nice job of holding on to it and not launching it down the right field line.
Well, it wasn't popped up that high, so D. Gordon didn't have a lot of opportunities. You know, speaking of pitching, we've had a lot of tweets, you've had a lot of emails asking about Henderson Alvarez.
Henderson Alvarez, of course, with the shoulder issues, underwent surgery. Flip on over to first. And so Alvarez having shoulder surgery. There will be more details, I would expect, in the next day or two as to the extent of the surgery, the time frame for return from the surgery.
Yeah, it is season ending. Just 4 starts this year. An unfortunate season for the entertainer, Henderson Alvarez. He did have some rehab starts, and then things flared up again on him. So the shoulder surgery today.
That one lined to left. Dietrich will play it on a hop. Anthony Rendon has a hit. And the Nationals have runners first and second with 1 out. On the line for Jose Fernandez is that incredible run of home starts. 22 of them. 14-0, an ERA 1.17. In those 22 starts, the Marlins are 19-3 in those games. In fact, since he came into the big leagues, Jose Fernandez has been dominant numbers wise, not only in this ballpark, but you stretch him over his career starts. And the Marlins win percentage in his starts well over 60%. In games he doesn't start, the Marlins win percentage close to 40%.
I think it was good to see him throw the ball the way he did in that road start in Arizona. 7 innings, 11 strikeouts. I think in that game, we talked about it at the time, Rich, we didn't see as much dirt on the backside, but we do tonight. And a lot of it, the dryness in Arizona compared to the humidity, even though we're inside in both places.
We are inside, but tonight it is exceptionally hot and humid inside the building.
There it is.
Breaking ball. He went. Escobar did not check it. Counts 1-2. Close. A lot of questions tonight about Marcell Ozuna. Pitch is out. Marcell Ozuna's name in the last 2 or 3 days has popped up in a potential trade. The team that is most written about the Cleveland Indians. Ozuna continues to swing it well in AAA. He homered and doubled last night. He's got 4 homers in his 17 games. That fastball misses away.
Now, I know it was a poor first half for Ozuna, production-wise. But we know he has the potential. We saw it last year. And for an organization that doesn't have a lot of that in the minor leagues and that struggles scoring, better get something back with some pop if Ozuna goes elsewhere, and I don't think he will. I think it's just rumors.
Escobar narrating that ball 4 as he heads down to first. This is Ozuna in AAA. Crack staff doing a fine job of getting this footage. I'm with you. I mean, for the Marlins, even with Giancarlo Stanton and D. Gordon healthy, the Marlins had trouble scoring runs. They had trouble protecting Stanton. Some of that was Marcell Ozuna's.
You need production from Ozuna. You need production from a Michael Morse if you're going to lengthen your lineup and score some runs. It isn't all about pitching and defense. You still have to score. And it doesn't matter if you're at home or if you're on the road.
The Escobar walk brought Chuck Hernandez out to the mound. Jose Fernandez and JT Realmuto discuss. Here is Worth. 4 walks. That ties a career high. It's the 5th time he's done it in his young career. His fastball misses inside to Jason Worth. Start number 41 in Jose's career. Bases filled with Nationals. Infield looking for a ground ball. A ball and a strike.
You hear stories, and read an article today about the dimensions of Marlins Park. Yes, suited for pitching, and an organization that has built around pitching and defense. That's all well and good. You still need to score runs. And you also play half your games on the road.
There's a bouncer. Prado, Gordon, got the double play. Nicely done. Good turn by D. Gordon. He had Yunel Escobar breathing right down his neck. And Jose Fernandez escapes. Still 1-0 Nationals.
There's the tag. It is going to be a triple play. Mike Lowell's going to throw to first. How about that? Over. Wow.
Geico presents this day in Marlins history, 2002. Mike Lowell with a triple play. Len Casper and Tommy Hutton on the call.
Saw a little D. Lee over at first, a little Andy Fox sighting. It was a unique triple play. You saw how Mike caught the ball, stepped on third, but then had to wait a little while till somebody got to first base so he could make the throw over there to complete it.
Derek Dietrich, JT Realmuto, Ichiro. This has been somewhat of a struggle for Jose Fernandez. I mean, I guess it's all relative. He's given up just 1 run and 3 hits, but Fernandez has tied his career high in walks in just 5 innings. Not so for Jordan Zimmerman. He has been clean and efficient, given up 3 singles. Oftentimes you'll hear a scout or a manager or a pitching coach describe a pitcher as a bulldog. And I think this guy fits that description quite well. That pitch was up, and he got a break on the call. 2-2 to Dietrich, who steps out.
Jordan Zimmerman will be a free agent after this season, too.
He's not the sexiest of names that's been in that rotation, but he may have been over the last 4 or 5 years. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. It's in the dirt, so Dietrich strikes out. He may have been the most valuable guy if you think about it. You go over the last 3-4 years. Check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, guys, one Marlin providing a lot of offense of late is this guy here, JT Realmuto. In fact, he's in the company of some of the best catchers in all of baseball since June 3rd. That's almost 2 months now. Look at that. Posey is the only catcher, minimum 75 plate appearances, to have a better average. Buster's on fire at 376. Yadier Molina is right there at 310. A.J. Pierzynski having a good year for the Braves, 305. But you see Realmuto's 41 hits. He has more homers than those other 3 catchers. Only 5 catchers around baseball are hitting 300 or better since that date. Tucker Barnhart of Cincinnati is the other guy. So that's pretty nice company for JT. And I talked to him today. He said he's just slowing the game down. And it's come to a point now where he really wants to continue to work on his offense and make it a big part of his game. And you're seeing it both from the power side, even those line drives. The DJ said today, the manager of the Marlins, that they keep track. He's at 39 line drive outs this season as well.
You're right, Craig. I mean, 15 doubles, 5 triples, 6 homers. His slugging percentage up over 400 at 416.
Another line drive
Into center field. This not an out, though.
I think in the cases of Realmuto and Derek Dietrich, we're seeing guys who got a little taste last year, maybe at times overwhelmed. They've made the adjustments, and the confidence level is at a high.
Here comes Ichiro. I like this idea. You and I have talked about this a few times. JD from Boca has an email wondering if you believe the trade deadline should be pushed back. Rob Manfred has talked about moving it to mid-August. Ichiro smacks it in the gap, right center field. Realmuto around second, on his way to third, and he'll stop there. Back-to-back hits, Realmuto and Ichiro, and it brings up Echeverria.
You can see Ichiro clearly trying to pull that pitch. Every once in a while we'll see him do that with a runner at first base. This time he gets it into right center. Good job by Michael Taylor in center to cut it off, hold Ichiro to a single, keep the double play in order. And if that ball gets through the gap, Ichiro's at third and Real Muto scores. A good job by Taylor.
And here is Echeverria. We saw one pitch in the third and line to right. And a strike. You buy that? Move the trading deadline to mid-August?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. It gives teams a little longer look at what they have, too, or don't have.
At the corners in a 1-0 game with one out, Justin Bour is on deck. Echeverria to right field, deep enough to score the run. Harper makes the catch. His throw comes to the cutoff man. Scoring is Real Muto. And it's 1-1.
Terrific job by Echeverria. Got a pitch he could drive, was able to pick up the run. Certainly deep enough to score Real Muto from third. We saw Justin Bour on deck. Had he been needed, had the Marlins not gotten that run. But now he goes back to the dugout. Jose gets one more at bat. He'll probably have one more inning.
So you don't think he was a decoy to force them to pitch to Echeverria?
That's possible. It's possible too.
It could have been. It probably served both purposes, right?
I mean, Jose's at 83 pitches. He's struggled. He's labored a little bit tonight for him. He's labored. He's given up one run.
Yeah, I noted that last inning in talking about his struggles. You got to put it all in perspective. 0-2 to Fernandez.
Oddly, the inning started with Zimmerman striking out Dietrich. That's his first strikeout of the ball game.
Oh, 2. Ichiro, the runner at first. And Jose could not check his swing. He strikes out, but Miami gets their run. Couple hits, Real Muto and Ichiro. Echeverria delivers it, and it's 1-1.
We've been taking your tweets and emails all throughout the course of the evening tonight. It has been all about the hashtag Fish Family and your favorite interactions with Marlins players. We got this tweet from Leslie, who had an opportunity to run into Jose Fernandez after a spring training game in Jupiter. Keep those tweets and emails coming. You could see your tweet throughout the course of the broadcast. And guys, Jose Fernandez back on the mound. That is a good sign for the Fish.
All right, thank you, Jessica. Jose Fernandez still in there. And here is Bryce Harper. Ryan Zimmerman, Ian Desmond to follow. Harper walked and scored in the second. Was called out on strikes in the fourth. And a changeup that misses away. As we've noted, Jose has not been his usual self.
I think he realizes, too, it'll be interesting to see how he approaches this inning. He realizes this is going to be his last inning tonight.
3 walks in his first 4 starts of the year. 4 walks tonight in just 5 innings.
Hasn't had the command that we've seen in the past, really with everything, but the one that stands out, the slider.
Harper goes opposite and
had to go with the fastball there.
Drills it into left. Leadoff hit for Harper in the 6th. Padres on a Friday. If you like wrestling, Legends of Wrestling will be here. Presented by Modelo Especial. 7:10 start. Mick Foley, Kevin Nash, Nasty Boys, and all of that. It's the Wrestling Night package for just $25. Enjoy post-game fireworks presented by Sagicor Life Insurance.
So let's see. Pitching for the Padres tonight at Citi Field is James Shields. So there's a good chance we could see Jose Fernandez and James Shields on Sunday.
Well, he sure isn't hitting tonight because Noah Syndergaard is perfect through 6.
Well, another 2-0 count. So Jose falling behind, and with that, Chuck Hernandez gets on the phone right away to the bullpen. Sweat pouring off the bill of his cap. Long time Marlins fans might remember Joe Strong. Used to come in from the bullpen and his cap looked like that.
Scott Olson in many of his starts. A lot of times pitchers or position players will pour water on their cap just to cool down. But as we talked about, it's unseasonably warm inside tonight to start this series.
Maybe it just seems that way because we came from San Diego.
Probably. A double and a walk. Zimmerman almost hit by pitch.
Let's see how Matt Williams plays this. Sam Dyson getting loose with the count 3-2 now on Zimmerman, and Harper, as you pointed out last time he got to first base, just doesn't run as much as he used to. See if he goes 3-2 with nobody out. Doesn't have any kind of a lead.
High pop up. Prado. 1 out. Ian Desmond coming up. This Saturday, Major League Baseball returns. It's the Battle of Southern California. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim against the Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles, live on Fox Sports 1. And it streams on Fox Sports Go. Desmond peels away from a pitch that's in.
You know, you look at the Nationals, they don't run a lot. One of their base stealers on the disabled list, Denard Span, has 11 steals. Michael Taylor has 11, but as a team, just 38 stolen bases.
Calling a strike to Desmond. Tommy pointed it out before the game began. Desmond has not fared well in this matchup, and that trend has continued tonight. He's 0 for 11 with 9 strikeouts in his career against Jose Fernandez.
Boy, this has been a true battle, certainly a test for Jose tonight.
And he got him. Wow. Tejman is 0 for 12 with 10 strikeouts against Jose.
And actually has a pretty good pitch to hit. The slider doesn't have the sharpness tonight. And that one kind of backed up, was in a good hitting area, but Desmond is not going to hit that with his track record against Jose.
Now Ramos is lined to center and has a sacrifice fly. Jose misses down low. So Noah Syndergaard perfect through 6. With the Padres in New York, Padres are here this weekend. And then the Mets will follow. Early next week, the Mets for 3. Bouncer to short, and Chavarria to Gordon. And Jose Fernandez on 99 pitches gets through 6. Jose against Zimmerman. It's 1-1. D. Gordon's coming up.
And Twitter Tuesday. Tonight, the special hashtag is Fish Family. We want to know about your favorite interactions with a Marlins player on social media. D. Gordon, he's one of the most active Marlins players on social media. A perfect example, this tweet from Sinclair. He asked D, hey, how's my form? And D gave him the thumbs up. So keep those tweets and emails coming, telling us your stories about how you've interacted with Marlins players on social media.
Thank you, Jess. First game back for D. Gordon. First pitch he saw, he lined to left for a hit. He's 1 for 2 tonight. And he leads off here in the 6th against Jordan Zimmerman. Martin Prado, Christian Yelich behind him. Breaking ball. Gordon drives it right center field. That's well hit. That's in the gap. And that one's going up against the wall. And Gordon's already around second. On his way to third. A stand-up triple. Welcome back, D. Gordon.
Triple number 5 on the year. 2 base hits tonight. The Marlins have a chance to take the lead. D. Gordon, by the time he had a little hang time on that, by the time that ball bounced on the warning track, he was almost at second base.
That was kind of in the same spot as his inside the park home run. That his only homer of the season. Now Prado. Infield is in, and the Marlins' best hitter against Jordan Zimmerman is up. Prado, 25 at-bats, 11 hits. He's 2 for 2 tonight. He is 3 for 3 tonight. And Miami has a 2-1 lead.
Well, I love the aggressiveness. We talked about that at the very beginning of the game. Jose loves it as well. All of a sudden, he's in line to pick up a win. But both D. Gordon and Prado aggressive. They got fastballs from Zimmerman and put good swings on them.
Now Yelich. Yelich bangs one into right field. Prado around second. He's headed for third. Harper's got a great arm. The throw. He is in there. And Yelich takes second.
That's a way to put a little pressure on a first-place team. Make them make a mistake. Aggressive hitting again by Yelich.
And a heads-up move by Prado, who doesn't run well right now.
A lot of runners do not go first to third with Bryce Harper out there. A little bit of a chance, but I love it. And a smart move by Yelich to pick up where that throw was going and go on to second base. Yelich checks out the arm. Where's the throw going? Sees it's going, turns it on, and gets to second base.
And all of a sudden, it's second and third and nobody out. And the Nationals bullpen is in motion. Good timing on this tweet from Carl. Mr. Hutton, I haven't heard you rant lately. Are you mellowing in your old age?
No, never gonna happen. 3 hits on 3 pitches.
That's actually, I think, your third rant of the night. So.
Hey, keep in mind, they can be positive.
That's true. Now McGee and the infield will stay in. So a chance to put some distance between themselves and the Nationals here. McGee, Dietrich, Real Muto. And now Zimmerman. His first stressful inning was the 5th. Miami got a run on the Echeverria sac fly. Here, 3 pitches, 3 hits, 1 run.
Going away from the fastball a little bit. Second pitch, that breaking ball to Casey.
Aaron Barrett's in Washington's bullpen. No, Jonathan Papelbon is not here yet. McGee taking a shot at that right side. Noah Syndergaard's perfect game is done in the 7th. Solarte and Venable with back-to-back hits. Here, a 1-0 National lead, erased in the 5th. Now Miami up a run, and McGee a chance to push the lead. Reaches out in protect mode.
Yeah, I think when you have a 41-58 record and you're playing the first place team, you've got to put pressure on them continually.
McGee, a bouncer up the middle. Rendon checks the runner, gets the out.
And I know it's been a while since the Marlins and Nationals have hooked up. They've only played 6 games. The Marlins have won 4 of 6.
Including tonight, 13 games between these two for October. Marlins got a series sweep, outscored them 17-4. Nationals took 2 of 3 in D.C. So the Marlins have to go to D.C. twice. And the Nationals will come back here one more time.
Yeah, I think one of those trips to Washington, D.C. Rich, is a 4-game series.
Well, we talked about this division favorite when the season opened, coming into town with a slender lead of just 2 games over the Mets, with Syndergaard flirting with a perfect game, which has been broken up by a couple of hits. The Mets have a 2-0 lead in the top of the 7th. And the Nationals are going to go after Real Muto. Dietrich is 0 for 2 against Zimmerman. He's popped out and struck out. Real Muto is 1 for 2. But obviously it sets up a shot and a double play.
Well, you know the kind of competitor JT Real Muto is. He's loving this right here, to get the opportunity with bases loaded.
Let's go, JT. Come on, man.
Oh, here comes Real Muto. Jacob on this a few days away from the trading deadline. If a trade is completed during a game, is the traded player able to finish the remainder of the game, or does the manager have to pull him?
I don't know if he has to, but they usually do.
Yeah, they don't want him to get hurt, because then the trade falls apart. Real Muto takes a strike. Who was your guy that had hits in 2 different cities on the same day?
Against 2 Hall of Famers. Joel Youngblood.
0-1. Real Muto, little tapper. Runner comes home. It's cut off by Escobar, and the Marlins get a run on a bounce out by Real Muto.
You know, it seems so innocent, and it wasn't hit hard. Real Muto was fooled, but he made contact. By making contact, the Marlins get another run.
Boy, that whole sequence set up by Prado going first to third on a single to right. Now, with Ichiro up, he'll be intentionally walked. And Zimmerman will face Echeverria. I don't know about this move, because Ichiro has struggled of late. He did have a hit in the 5th.
Yeah, he hit the ball well. He really has just 2 hits in his last 24 at bats.
And Echeverria's hit it well twice. Echeverria lined to right and then had a deep fly ball to right for a sacrifice fly.
What it does, it gives you a righty-righty matchup.
But it gives
that's
you
all.
But I know Zimmerman doesn't walk anybody, so that kind of.
There are a lot of pitchers you might not do this with.
All right, so a roll of the dice by the Nationals. Echeverria, having watched him all year, is a much more dangerous hitter than Ichiro.
And also a much more dangerous hitter in this number 8 spot of the lineup.
Counts 1-0. Justin Bohr is on deck. And to the bat, roller to first, scooped up there by Zimmerman, who gets the outs. Miami sends 8 to the plate. 2 of them score. 3-1 Fish to the 7th. Everybody loves Christian Yelich. Lexus of Pembroke Pines. Upcoming schedule. Now, remember, Thursday's game is not on television, but come on out. It's camp day at 12:10. The Padres are here for a weekend series. 3 of them, all on Fox Sports Florida. These times are start times for Marlins Live. The Mets, Monday through Wednesday. Then the Marlins head to Atlanta for a 4-gamer against the Braves and that Red Sox series back here at Marlins Park. Both games on Fox Sports Florida. Cole Gillespie in center, and that's going to push Christian Yelich over to left. And Brian Morris into the ball game. You would think that Morris on this switch would go in for Derek Dietrich. We'll hold off on that until we get confirmation.
It would be the move because he'd keep you from having to use a pinch hitter.
Yep, Gillespie is in that 9 spot. Take nothing for granted, Mr. Hutton.
I understand.
Chopper, it's a foul.
Good,
almost sends,
and a good thing because it would have been a base hit.
And almost sends Prado into the seats.
Season high 99 pitches for Jose tonight. The most pitches he's thrown in a game since May 4th. Last year he threw 114 against the Dodgers. But he battled through his 6 innings of work. And he leaves with a 3-1 lead.
So Brian Morris facing Michael Taylor. Tyler Moore is on deck for the Nationals. Nationals 5-man bench. It's got Tyler Moore, right-handed pop. Switch hitters Danny Espinosa, Jose Lobaton. Left-handed bat of Clint Robinson. He's had a nice run. And Dan Uggla on that Nationals bench tonight. 1-2. Just a poke out to right. Ichiro is there and he makes the catch.
This is how you set it up. You never know if it's going to work out this way, but Dan Jennings hoping that Brian Morris gets things done here in the 7th inning. He has Carter Capps and then A.J. Ramos. That's how you draw it up.
It's one of the charms of baseball that's different from a lot of other sports. Sometimes you see telecasts have, which are popular on other sports, fly ball left field. Yelich is there. The keys to the game. That's always amusing in a baseball sense. Tonight's keys to the game. Because in baseball there really aren't any keys to the game because every game is so different. You don't really have a. I always remember in the postseason in Seattle in '99 or '98, a reporter that didn't cover baseball much in a tense clubhouse after Seattle lost to the Yankees and was still alive in the series asked Lou Piniella, what was your strategy going into the ball game tonight? What was your game plan tonight?
You bring up just a fabulous point because you can go into a football game, college, NFL, and you can say, okay, these are the keys to the game. This is what the offense has to do against this defense.
There are no keys to the game.
Not in baseball.
Get some hits.
Score some runs.
Get some outs. Sponsored by. To Lou's credit, he didn't snap at that.
That's actually amazing.
Yes, he just chuckled. Breaking ball misses down to Anthony Rendon. Rendon 1 for 3. A night when the Nationals welcome back Jason Worth, Ryan Zimmerman. Rendon just recently coming off the DL as well.
Yeah, it's been a struggle with the knee injury, then a quad injury for Rendon, who just a terrific player. Played 153 games last year. Had 39 doubles. Scored 111 runs.
Just spent 25 games away from the ball club with that quad injury you talked about.
And remember, as a third baseman, Escobar has done such a good job over there. There was some thought early in the year, well, when Rendon comes back, they'll move Escobar to second. But Escobar is real comfortable at third, and you can't move him off there the way he's hit. And Rendon, not a bad second baseman either.
Morris misses in. 3-2. Jose is 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, ties his career high with 4 walks. Zimmerman, 6 innings, 8 hits. And Morris loses Rendon. Padres are here this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And on Saturday, Colombian Heritage Night, August 1st, Marlins and Padres 7:10. All-you-can-eat seats, just $35. After the game, enjoy a concert in the West Plaza. Hip-hop legend Salt and Peppa, presented by Lexus. Go to Marlins.com today.
Well, with you hope it doesn't get to it. You have Escobar on deck. They're up to the plate. Then Worth. After Worth, you have the left-handed bat, Bryce Harper. That's why it's like Mike Dunn starts to loosen up.
Escobar is as colorful a player as you'll find, and oftentimes during the course of an at-bat, he will talk to himself, narrate a pitch as it comes across, talk to the umpire, ask for time.
To the point where at times he was a little over the top, and I think a guy, his first manager, really kind of said, this is the way you play the game. Bobby Cox, when he was in Atlanta.
Pulls it foul. Well, he's walked twice. He's got a terrific on-base percentage, over 370 now. As you pointed out, he's been very quietly a solid piece in a season where the Nationals have lost a lot of games by their biggest stars on the disabled list. Little tapper Morris spears it. Gets the out. Brian Morris locks down the seventh inning stretch in Miami. 3-1 Marlins. With tomorrow's starters, Doug Fister for the Nationals, Tom Kohler for Miami. Kohler's been outstanding. You see the slender ERA now at 3.16. Fister has made just 13 starts. He spent some time on the disabled list. That's tomorrow night. We've got pregame coverage on Marlins Live starting at 6:30. Tonight, 3-1. Miami. Sammy Solis in for the Nationals. Swing and a miss. Cole Gillespie's first at bat. It's been a tight ball game, so we really haven't had a chance to dive that deeply into the emails and tweets. Robert wants to know, Tommy, you think the Marlins would be interested in acquiring Yasiel Puig?
Well, if you have the outfield that you plan on having with Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton, where are you going to play Puig?
It's a good question. You earlier tonight addressed the Marcell Ozuna rumors as far as the Marlins entertaining a possible trade of Ozuna. Gillespie rolls it up the middle into center field. That's a base hit.
That's a good job, and the reason Matt Williams brings in Solis is because after Gillespie have D. Gordon, then Prado, but then another left-hander in Christian Yelich. So you want to try to counter that plan, get some early base hits, and Gillespie starts things with a single.
Drew wants us to give our thoughts on Tulo to Toronto. We did touch upon it early in the telecast. Tommy's biggest concern is health. My interest is to see where Jose Reyes ends up. Here's Gordon shortening to bunt. Takes away.
Yeah, I read a note today over the last, I believe, 3 or 4 years, Jose Reyes has actually played more games than Troy Tulowitzki.
It certainly is a softer turf in Toronto than in years past. Gordon takes away. There were a lot of Met fans today clamoring for Jose Reyes back to New York. He is owed some money the next couple of years. I don't know if that's going to happen. And right now, Solis having trouble finding the zone against a guy who typically is tough to walk, and D. Gordon.
Well, he's up there trying to bunt, so he's getting a much better look at the pitches. So I remember years ago realizing when you're up there to bunt and you take a pitch, you take a pitch, you look, boy, that's right down the middle. Wish I was swinging. One of the reasons you saw it right down the middle is because you were looking at it longer.
Nice bunt. That's trouble. Solis safe. Gordon across the bag. Certainly it'll be reviewed. But that great closing speed by D. Gordon made it bang bang.
You knew it was going to be close when Solis came off the mound.
Looks like he's out.
I think he's out. I think he's out.
And the Nationals are going to challenge it. Back to the glove.
There it is. Foot still not on the bag.
It will go as a sacrifice if it is overturned.
Deep down, I think D knows that too.
Shows you how tough it is to umpire this game. We saw it in real time, and it looked like, you know what? It might have been safe, and then you take a look. And looks definitively like he is out. Speaking of replay, during a telecast a few days ago, while replay was being discussed, this is an email from Michael. You guys said that while being hit by a pitch can be reviewed, a foul tip was not reviewable. What other plays are non-reviewable? Check swings would be something considerable for reviewing in certain circumstances.
There'd be too many of them.
But I suppose if pitches aren't reviewed, then check swings won't be either. Yes, check swings are not reviewable. Fair or foul on the infield, anything in front of the umpire on the first or third base line, that's not reviewable. I want to say catch or trap on the infield, and he is out. So it is a sacrifice. So it's overturned. Gordon gets the sacrifice. Gillespie is at second. Balks are not reviewable.
To the dismay of Bob Davis. Maybe to the delight of Bob Davis.
Wow, the Nationals have intentionally walked 3 hitters tonight. And the odd thing about that is that the 2 that Zimmerman intentionally walked were the only 2 walks he gave up all night. He'd given up just 2 in his last 6 starts, and then he walks 2, but they're both intentional. So that's a stat to me that seems hardly fair. Pitchers get charged with the walk that's intentional. We have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Make sure you tweet your strongest fan photo, #FL Data Strong. It's a chance to be featured in an upcoming telecast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Steve. Way to go, Steve.
It's a good shot there. Youngster got the cap, got the jersey on, looking good. Yelich has upped his average, got off to a slow start against lefties at 263 now, 21 for 80 against left-handers.
First and second, 1 out. And he drills it down the third base line. That's a hit. Gillespie will score. 4-1.
Well, this whole inning was set in motion by the base hit of Cole Gillespie to start things. Obviously, Matt Williams drew it up differently, bringing in the left-hander. There's that good approach by Yelich against the left-hander. The average will go up a little bit more, and the Marlins add on.
One fish. Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Hernandez were in a tight battle. Zimmerman had a 1-0 lead, but the Marlins tied it in the 5th. And since then have scored 3 more runs. Aaron Barrett, second out of the pen for the Nationals. You see that ERA at 4.21. One of the reasons the Nationals tonight have acquired Jonathan Papelbon from the Phillies is to help lengthen the bullpen. McGee swings and misses. Martin Prado, the runner, at second. Christian Yelich is at first. 0-1 coming McGee's way. And he bounces it off the pitcher. Picked up there by Escobar, and he throws him out.
Can you believe the night Casey McGee's had? You talk about bad luck. He hit that shot, that rocket up the middle that was deflected by Zimmerman and turned into a 1-4-6-3 double play. This time, off the pitcher, the ball caroms off Barrett over to Escobar, and he completes the play. Sometimes you need a little luck.
You saw the shortstop spot was vacated. Justin Bour finally gets to pinch hit here. And the Nationals, for the 4th time tonight, are going to intentionally walk a hitter. Aaron Barrett steps off almost in disbelief.
Of course, Bour pinch hitting for Brian Morris, the pitcher hitting in this spot.
In the 6th inning, with Zimmerman on the mound, the Nationals intentionally walked Derek Dietrich to pitch to JT Realmuto. Now, Steve McCatty, the pitching coach, is on his way out. There was some confusion there. Almost, I don't know if it was Barrett wasn't sure about intentionally walking someone.
I think he's getting an earful right now from Steve McCatty. Because there's a lot of listening from Barrett and a lot of talking by Steve McCatty.
There's nobody throwing in the bullpen, so he's not trying to buy time. Williams trying to talk him through, and you can see Barrett's he doesn't look like a real happy guy out there. And now they're not going to walk. First pitch misses outside. Maybe there was confusion as to pitch carefully to him or intentionally walk him.
We'll know after this pitch.
Right. If he falls behind 2-0, they'll probably just complete the intentional walk. And it looks like the instruction from Williams was keep it down and keep it off the plate and see if he chases. But the catcher Wilson Ramos put the glove out as if to say, let's walk this guy intentionally. And that's when Barrett balked, and that brought McCatty out. Of course, it's just as good as an intentional walk. But you never know. If you're Bour, you got to be ready. You never know when you got to go full Miggy on him. Pitch misses outside, and there's the walk. So Bour walks. Here's Realmuto.
What do you gain by that?
I don't know.
If you're missing by that much, major league hitter is going to chase that.
Well, remember, Realmuto drove in a run after the intentional walk to Dietrich. Bour is walked in front of him. And the pitch misses down low. You know, the thing it does, and certainly Bohr is dangerous with that left-handed pop against the righty, but it removes the safety net for Barrett. In terms of balls and strikes, there's no place to put Real Muto.
We talked about that earlier with Jordan Zimmerman, a little different situation because he throws so many strikes.
Yeah, the only time he walks anyone lately is intentional walks. In the air, towards the line, Harper is going to come up short. That ball clangs off and looked like the railing.
Boy, great move by the ball boy down there, leaping from his seat and getting out of the way. Watch this. Okay, get the seat. He grabs the seat, the chair, does his best to get out of the way. The security guard down there with a quick move.
I think it's important to see that shot there after the other one, because in that one shot it looked like the stool was close to Harper's head. It was not. It was in that shot, it appeared, but on that side shot you could see it looked like 6 or 7 feet away. Count is 2-1. That's how far they were.
Yeah, that's right. That other angle looked like the stool, the legs of the stool were right in his face.
So he gets a fastball here, 2-1. He did, and he drills it to right, hits it well. Harper back, and he has it on the track. And Miami leaves him loaded, but adds a run in the 7th to the 8th, 4-1 Fish.
And it is amazing, Rich. We've gotten a lot of tweets and emails because we've commented on it. It didn't appear that Jose maybe had the best command that we've seen. He missed with some pitches. He had some stressful innings for sure. But when he needed to get outs, he seemed to get outs. And he completed 6 innings and gave up just the 1 run on 4 hits. More importantly, he left the game. The score was tied, but in the bottom half of the inning, the Marlins put up a 2 spot, and he has a chance to extend that home streak to 15-0.
But not without a little help from his friends. Brian Morris handled the 7th. Carter Capps gets the 8th, and if all goes well, you would expect A.J. Ramos in the 9th. Jason Worth, Bryce Harper, and Ryan Zimmerman. You know, it's been so long since the Marlins saw the Nationals. They really haven't seen Carter Capps at his very best. .98 miles an hour with a fastball. And a wicked slider for a strike. Worth is kind of looking out there saying, I came off the DL for this. 3 ABs against Jose, and now this.
Oh, no.
No swing. Got a lefty in the Nationals bullpen. Felipe Rivero. And Worth hangs in there and drills it into left field. Nice at bat from Jason Worth.
That's almost a gift after the fastball's over 98, and then you get a hanging breaking ball.
You can follow the Marlins all season. MLB.com @bat #1 app for live baseball up to the moment, any moment, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, StatCast, and more. MLB.com @bat for your smartphone or your tablets. This should be fun. Bryce Harper now, who is 1 for 2. He's walked, struck out, singled. And he takes a rip at 98. Oh, and 1.
You see a more disciplined Bryce Harper.
A little more compact swing. That's a screamer. Echeverria out there. Gordon's turn is in time.
Still got the double play.
What an athletic turn by D. Gordon after a rocket run down by Adeiny Echeverria.
Gives you an idea how hard that ball was hit. Even with the bobble, the Marlins able to turn 2. There's the bobble, but he picks it up barehanded. And then look at D. Gordon actually moving toward third base as he makes that throw. Good hard slide by Jason Worth. You know he's coming at you. And D. Gordon completed it.
Ryan Zimmerman now. Caps has given up 2 hard hit balls. The single by Worth, the double play by Harper. And a strike to Zimmerman, who's doubled, walked, and popped out. Our Toyota trend. Most double plays started in the National League. Danny Echeverria leading Andrelton Simmons. That's 3 hard hit balls off of Carter Capps.
Well, it doesn't matter how hard you're throwing. That last pitch, 99 miles an hour. He doesn't. He either doesn't want to because he hung the one to Worth, or he doesn't have a good feel for his slider tonight.
Well, at Citi Field right now, they're celebrating a 4-0 win over the Padres. Tyler Clippard on the mound to finish it. Noah Syndergaard was perfect through 6, and that certainly impacts the night here in Miami. Carter Capps on for the Marlins. Fish trying to beat the Nationals. A 4-1 lead in the 8th. Nationals lead over the Mets when the night started was just 2 games. It's down to a game and a half.
I don't know if a hitter's ever been happy to see Carter Capps, but Ian Desmond may be happy to see Capps after his night facing Jose and his career facing Jose.
Yeah, 3 strikeouts against Jose. 0 for 12. 10 strikeouts in his career. There's the slider, and Desmond is struck out for the 4th time tonight. Capps works a scoreless 8th. Bottom of the 8th, Marlins 3 runs better than the Nationals so far.
Lead for Miami. Well, we have had so many great tweets tonight from Marlins fans telling us about their favorite interactions with players, including this one from Jasmine, who had the opportunity to run into Jeff Mathis at spring training and take a selfie with him. That is a great memory for Jasmine, and another great tweet using that hashtag #FishFamily. Keep those tweets coming. We're going to keep taking those tweets all throughout the course of the broadcast, guys.
Thank you, Jessica. It's the bottom of the 8th. Another pitching change for the Nationals. This is Felipe Rivero, one of the top pitching prospects in the Washington chain, according to Baseball America. Came over from the Rays with Jose Lobaton. Little underhand flip to get it out at first.
Rich, can't agree more with the tweet from Andrea. What a beautiful double play by hashtag Etch and his partner in crime, hashtag D. Gordon.
It's nice to see that you and Andrea have made up.
Well, that's why I picked that particular tweet.
Very nice. That's the olive branch. Here's Echeverria, who is 0 for 2. A strike, and it's 0-1. A.J. Ramos getting ready. Tony has this email. If the Marlins are looking to trade some starting pitching, and Henderson Alvarez is done for the season, how are the young arms doing in AAA? Urena, Nicolino. Are they ready? Liner to right, and a base hit for Echeverria. Eche, 1 for 3 night with a sac fly. He's had good swings on 3 of his 4 ABs.
Yeah, he has very similar, that pitch, to the pitch he hit for the sacrifice fly back in the 5th inning. And remember, he lined out to right field in the 3rd.
Justin Nicolino, 6-6 with a 3.43 ERA, 18 starts. Adam Conley's having a great year, 8-3 at 2.58. As Jose Urena, 6-1, 2.66 in 11 starts. So yes, I actually asked Dan Jennings that on the road trip, and he said all 3 guys he would feel comfortable plugging them into the rotation if the Marlins do trade a Matt Latos or a Dan Herron, which has been a lot of the scuttlebutt. Etch is running on the pitch, and Cole Gillespie lines it foul. Big jump by Etch. This was a Jordan Zimmerman, Jose Fernandez start.
And I think to that question, Rich, the age-old question, as part of that, will they be ready? You never know. It takes time. You have to adjust. Did Andrew Heaney look ready last year? And he's gotten an opportunity. Started the year in the minor leagues with the Angels. Heaney's gotten an opportunity, and in 6 starts, he's gone 5-0 with a 179 earned run average for the Angels.
I saw someone the other day saying, you know, the Marlins are really going to regret that trade. But of course, you know, the reality is, without that trade, the guy at the plate's not here. Right? You got D. Gordon.
Yeah, that's right.
And a throw to first. You know, the team that may regret it is the Los Angeles Dodgers, who flipped Heaney almost as soon as they got him.
Well, they wanted a second baseman. They needed a second baseman.
Etch is running again. This time not such a good jump. Whoa! Swim move safe. Alan Porter, the second base umpire. Obviously, the Nationals will look at it. They do have their replay remaining. They had a successful challenge earlier.
Certainly the throw was there in lots of time. There's the move. Right, left hand comes over the glove. But is he swiped on the upper thigh? Hard to tell.
Another look. Let's see. Super slow.
If he swipes him there, it's hard to tell. If he gets the pants just a little bit.
It almost looked like the string on his glove. Does that qualify if the string on the glove
part of the glove?
It's part of the glove.
I would have to say yes. I don't know.
Does the string count? That's a question for New York. Let's see if he definitively gets him with the glove. Yeah, you can see the glove move. You can see the glove move. Unfortunately for Etch, I think this is going to be an out. And he's out. Echeverria is out. Inning is over. And the Marlins go to the ninth trying to nail this one down. It's 4-1 Fish. South Florida Honda dealers. by Kubota. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And by Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit us at FloridaCoastEQ.com. Tonight in Miami, everybody check their device. They're looking for the Warren Henry drives of the game. 4-1, Marlins on top in the ninth. Nice to have D. Gordon back in the leadoff spot. First pitch he saw, drills it into left field. And the Marlins tied 1-1 in the sixth. Gordon came to the plate and smacked his 5th triple of the season.
And remember, he just had one rehab game in A-ball.
Now A.J. Ramos for the ninth. Wilson Ramos pulls a ground ball. Martin Prado gets the out. One pitch, one out. Michael Taylor, and then a pinch hitter for the Nationals, who have lost 6 of 9 coming into this one. The Mets have won tonight. If the Marlins get these next 2 outs, the Mets will be just a game back in the East. And of course, the Mets are here in Miami on Monday for a 3-game series.
Well, certainly it's an area where the Marlins want to improve, and that's playing within your division. And as we talked about Sunday, I believe in San Diego, a lot of games left within the division. This club, the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies.
Michael Taylor is lined out, single, flied out. So the Mets shut out the Padres 4-0. The hottest team in the East right now. It's not the Nationals, not the Mets, certainly not the Marlins or the Braves. It's the Phillies. And the Phillies have a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the ninth, and that game just went final. The Phillies, Tommy Hutton, have won 9 of 10, believe it or not. They beat the Blue Jays tonight 3-2.
Tip of the cap to Pete McCannon, who's taken over as the interim manager.
Ken Giles gets the save. The Jonathan Papelbon era ends. Be interested to see if Papelbon is in uniform here tomorrow night.
Oh, I would imagine he will be.
You would think. Checkers after the game. D. Gordon's return. Jose didn't have his best stuff tonight. Tied a career high with 4 walks. And a night where he did not dazzle as usual. He still only gave up 1 run in 6 innings. And he's about to run his record at home to 15-0. If Ramos can finish.
All of a sudden, A.J. having trouble finding the strike zone.
Clint Robinson. A slicing liner down the line is going to fall fair. Yelich over to pick it up. Taylor to third. And Robinson, who's done such a nice job filling in for all the missing talent, has himself a pinch hit double, and things turn a little more urgent for for A.J. Ramos.
Yeah, Robinson hitting over 270. 11, 12 doubles now, 4 home runs. And you're right, with the absence of Ryan Zimmerman at first base, he's filled in. This will just help his pinch hitting. The fact that he had a lot of at-bats early on.
Now Rendon, dangerous hitter. No swing, and it's 1-0.
Remember, in the 8th inning, Carter Capps got through that inning, but there were some hard hit balls. Gave up 2 base hits.
Rendon has power, but he hasn't homered. This is game number 21. Yunel Escobar on deck. Chuck Hernandez watching intently. Michael Taylor at third. And Robinson out at second. And Ramos misses and does not look comfortable or effective right now. That's a strike.
Well, you talk about key pitches in a ball game. This one coming up for Rendon is going to be one of them.
And he got a bit of a gift on pitch number 5. Breaking ball is out. Bags are loaded, and now Ramos has to face the teeth of the order. Escobar, Worth, Harper, and if anybody does damage, Zimmerman.
Well, that's a pretty good take on a pitch that might have caught the corner.
So the bags there are loaded. That means the tying run is now at first base, and you've got Escobar, who's been one of the hotter hitters all season long for the Nationals. I think few people, when pressed to name the top 5 hitters batting average wise in the National League, would include Escobar in that list. But there he is, sitting behind Buster Posey, Paul Goldschmidt, Dee Gordon, his teammate Bryce Harper.
Well, after Escobar, you have Worth. We've seen him get big hits over the years. And after Worth, you have Bryce Harper.
Infield back looking for a ground ball. Ramos now. Remember the escape in Arizona for Ramos.
Bases loaded. He struck out the next 3 hitters.
That was a 2-run lead he had to protect, and he did. And he told Jessica Blaylock after the ball game that he feels like at times he pitches better in spots like that, where it's all on the line. Woof. That's a nice pick by Real Muto, and that saves Ramos a run. Nothing coming easy here for A.J. Ramos. Nationals have loaded the bases with 1 out. in the ninth. That one's going to get out of play. Jose Fernandez is in line for the win. It would be his 15th without a defeat in this ballpark. Soft ground ball. Gordon backhands, edges, turn, double play, ball game.
Just the way A.J. mapped it out.
A nice feed by Gordon. That's a long flip. And he got enough on it to give Echeverria the feed he needed to turn it. Jose Fernandez gets the win, but he needed help from his bullpen. Brian Morrison inning, Carter Capson inning. Ramos wobbled, but he finishes. And another nice double play turn by that sparkling middle infield.
Kind of get in that position. Do you flip it backhand or do you pivot? It was just a perfect feed. Chest high, allowed Echeverria to catch it and then complete the double play throw. Terrific defense tonight.
So Ramos, who gives up a hit, a double, and walks 2, does not give up a run. And the Marlins get a win to open up this homestand and this series. Marlins Live is coming up. Lots of highlights, lots to talk about. Craig Minervini and Jeff Konar.